The greatest battles in life are not fought in stadiums, arenas, or against other people. They are fought in the silent spaces where no one is watching. If you can learn to stand victorious when no one is there to clap for you, you will never lose again. Most people grow up believing that winning is something you do against someone else. It's taught from our earliest games, in school sports, in academic rankings, and in the competitions of adulthood, promotions, wealth, social status. We're told, directly or indirectly, that to win is to be above others, to have them beneath you, to have proof that you are somehow more capable or more worthy. But if this is the only definition of winning you know, you will eventually find yourself lost when no opponent is there to challenge you. You will feel aimless when the crowd is gone, because in those moments the scoreboard you've always looked to will vanish, and without it, so will your sense of purpose. The truth is, the most meaningful victories are the ones no one witnesses but you. These are not measured in trophies, medals, or public recognition. They are measured in something far more personal, the knowledge that you have grown beyond your own limitations. Winning alone is not about proving that you can beat them. It is about proving that you can beat you, yesterday's version of you, last week's habits, the limits you placed on yourself last year. This is a different battlefield, one without referees, without cameras, without applause, and yet it's the only arena that truly matters because it's the one you will always carry with you. When you redefine winning this way, the competition never disappears. There will always be a you to surpass. Some days that battle is about discipline, getting out of bed on time, even when your body wants to stay under the covers. Other days it's about mental strength, staying calm in the face of frustration, resisting the urge to lash out when emotions rise. And sometimes it's about learning something new, even when the easier choice would be to stay comfortable in what you already know. Each of these is a private contest, with no audience to celebrate you, and no scoreboard to prove your progress to others. But deep down, you will know whether you've won or lost. This is why so many people struggle when they are left alone. When you've spent your whole life chasing external victories, beating rivals, getting recognition, collecting rewards, the sudden absence of those things can feel like a void. You may feel that without an opponent, there is no reason to keep trying, but this is the exact moment when the shift must happen. The absence of an external rival is not the end, it is the start of your real work. It's the moment where the goal changes from "how do I prove myself to them?" to "how do I prove myself to me?" Think of it this way: when you are running a race, you pace yourself against the other runners. You watch where they are, and your effort rises or falls based on their speed. But when you run alone, there is no one to dictate your pace. The only way forward is to measure yourself against your own past. Can you cover more distance than you did yesterday? Can you run with better form, smoother breathing, and greater endurance than before? This is what it means to redefine winning. You are no longer tied to the unpredictable performance of others, but instead anchored to your own progress. The beautiful thing about this kind of winning is that it's endless. If victory is only defined by being better than others, there will always be the risk of losing the moment someone surpasses you. Your worth will constantly be in danger, hanging on the fragile thread of external comparison. But when victory is defined by personal growth, no one can take it away from you. Even if the world ignores your progress, even if your improvements go unnoticed, they are still real. And when you know how to measure your own growth, you will never run out of challenges, because the self is an infinite landscape. There will always be something to improve, refine, and strengthen. This shift in mindset also changes how you see failure. When you are only competing against others, losing can feel like an attack on your identity. You may feel shame, anger, or humiliation, but when you are competing against yourself, failure becomes feedback. If you didn't grow today, it's not a reason to collapse, it's a signal to adjust your approach tomorrow. In this way, every loss becomes a lesson, every setback becomes a teacher, and every obstacle becomes part of your private training ground. The focus moves away from winning now to winning eventually, and that kind of victory is far more sustainable. But make no mistake, winning alone is not easier. In fact, it is harder because it requires honesty. When you compete with others, you can always blame your loss on their skill, their luck, or circumstances outside your control. But when you compete only with yourself, there is nowhere to hide. If you fail to improve, you must face the reality that it was your own habits, choices, or effort that held you back. That level of accountability is uncomfortable, but it is also freeing, because it puts the power entirely in your hands. You are no longer waiting for someone else to stumble so you can win. You are building a victory that cannot be taken from you. And so, to win alone is to wake up each day asking not, who will I beat today, but how will I be better than I was? It is to replace the shallow satisfaction of applause with the deep fulfillment of progress. It is to carry your victories quietly, like a hidden flame, small in appearance, but powerful enough to light the path ahead. This is a win you can keep for life. When the lights are off and no one is looking, the truth of your discipline is revealed. It's easy to act motivated when you're being watched. It's easy to give your best effort when a coach is shouting instructions, when a boss is checking in, or when peers are competing alongside you. But what happens when those eyes are gone? That is the moment that separates the ones who live by inner standards from those who only perform for the approval of others. Your real strength is not measured in how you act under supervision, it's measured in how you act when you're completely unseen. Inner standards are the invisible rules you live by. They are the boundaries you refuse to cross, the level of quality you demand from yourself, and the commitment you uphold no matter who is or isn't watching. People without inner standards drift with the tides of external pressure.
When you say, like, well, how much
if others expect little of them, they give little. If
generate,
others push them hard, they rise only until the pushing stops. But those with inner standards are self-directed. Their performance doesn't depend on the presence of an audience. They are like a river that flows steadily whether or not anyone comes to drink. This is why inner standards are more important than motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes based on mood, energy, and circumstances. Inner standards, on the other hand, are constant. They are not about how you feel in the moment. They are about what you require of yourself regardless of feelings. A person with high inner standards will still show up for the workout when it's raining. They'll still study when they'd rather scroll endlessly on their phone. They'll still put effort into a task even when they could easily get away with doing less. Their standards act as a compass, not a thermometer. They guide their actions rather than react to the environment. Think about the craftsman who refuses to cut corners even when no one will see the flaw. The woodworker who sands the underside of a table, the part that faces the floor, not because anyone will notice, but because they will know. This is the essence of inner standards, doing things with excellence because you expect it of yourself, not because you'll be rewarded. Over time, this commitment creates a quiet but unshakable confidence. You know you can rely on yourself. You know you will hold the line. That is a form of victory more powerful than any external prize, but building inner standards is not instant. It is forged through repetition. You cannot simply declare, from now on, I will have discipline, and expect it to stick. Inner standards are strengthened like muscles through daily testing. Every time you choose the harder right over the easier wrong, you reinforce them. Every time you follow through on a commitment to yourself, you add another brick to the foundation, and just like training the body, the results are invisible at first. Weeks or months may pass before you feel the strength of those standards, but when you do, they will be a part of you. High inner standards also protect you from the instability of external judgment. When your self-worth is tied to praise, you become a slave to opinion. You'll work hard only when someone is clapping. You'll try your best only when there's a chance of recognition. But When your standards are internal, your sense of achievement is immune to outside influence. The applause becomes a pleasant bonus, not the fuel. The criticism becomes a point of consideration, not a crushing blow. You stop asking, "What do they think of me?" and start asking, "Did I honor my own standards today?" Of course, high standards demand honesty. You can't fool yourself the way you can fool others. You know when you've taken shortcuts. You know when you've skipped the effort and tried to disguise it. Living with inner standards means holding yourself accountable even when no one else would ever notice your slip. This honesty is uncomfortable at times, but it also creates freedom. You never have to fear being found out, because you live in alignment with the truth you already know about yourself. So the real challenge is this: live in such a way that if someone followed you for a day, they wouldn't be surprised by anything they saw. The public and private versions of you should be the same. Let your standards be the constant thread that ties your actions together, whether you are surrounded by people or standing completely alone. That's how you win in the moments that no one else sees. Silence is where the real test begins. In the presence of noise, distractions can mask your doubts, the chatter of the world, the encouragement of friends, even the criticism of opponents. All of it gives you something to push against. But when the noise fades and you are left alone with your thoughts, there is nothing left to fight except yourself. It is in that emptiness, in that stillness, that the weight of your own mind presses hardest, and it is there that the true champions are made. Silence removes the comfort of external direction. When there's no one telling you what to do, the responsibility falls fully on you. No reminders, no deadlines, no voice to guide your next step. Only the choices you make in that quiet space. This is why so many people crumble in solitude. They've spent their lives relying on the structure others provide. But the silence doesn't lie. It will reveal whether your discipline is self-made or borrowed from the presence of others. In the arena of silence, your inner voice grows louder. Sometimes it speaks in doubt. You're too tired. This isn't worth it. No one will notice if you skip it just once. Other times, it whispers in temptation. Rest a little longer. Take the easy path. No one will know. If you haven't trained your mind to respond, these voices will rule you. That's why silence is so dangerous for the unprepared. It removes all excuses, leaving only your willpower to stand against your own resistance. This is where you must learn to treat silence as a teacher, not an enemy. Instead of fearing the stillness, step into it willingly. Listen to the thoughts that arise, not to obey them, but to understand them. The more familiar you become with your own mental patterns, the less power they hold over you. In time, silence will stop feeling like a void and start feeling like a training ground, a place where you refine your focus, strengthen your discipline, and sharpen your resolve. The most dangerous battles are not fought in front of crowds. They are fought in empty rooms. Consider the early morning run whose alarm goes off before dawn. There's no cheering audience, no medal waiting at the finish, no one to congratulate them when they return home. The only thing they have is the decision to lace up their shoes and step outside into the cold. This act, repeated over time, builds a kind of strength no competition can replicate. It is the ability to move forward without applause. Silence also strips away the illusion of performance. When you're in front of others, you may act a certain way because you want to be seen in a certain light. But when you're alone, there's no one to impress, only yourself to answer to. And that's where the question becomes unavoidable. Who am I when no one is watching? The answer is not found in your words, but in your habits. The truth of your character is written in how you spend your quiet hours. To master the silent arena, you must create your own structure within it. Set your own rules, your own schedule, your own challenges. Treat these commitments as sacred, even if they are invisible to the world. This is not about living without others. It's about becoming so self-directed that you can thrive even without them. That way, when life inevitably places you in moments of isolation, you will not wither. You will not wait for someone else to give you permission to move. you will already know how to act, and so silence becomes your proving ground. If you can hold your standards in the absence of applause, you will never be dependent on it again. If you can move forward without a push, you will never fear the absence of a guide. If you can win in the quiet, you can win anywhere, because the hardest battle will have already been fought, and it will have been fought within. Every visible victory rests on an invisible foundation. The public sees the finish line, the medal, the promotion, the recognition, but they do not see the long, lonely hours that came before it. They don't see the late nights spent refining your skills, the quiet sacrifices that no one thanks you for, or the countless times you had to choose discipline over comfort when there was no immediate reward. This is the unseen work, the part of the journey that never makes it into highlight reels, but without it, there would be nothing to show at all. The unseen work is where your real identity is built. When no one is around to witness your effort, the quality of that effort comes from your own standards, not from a desire to impress. In these moments, you learn whether you are committed to the process or addicted to attention. If you only give your best when there's a stage, your progress will always be shallow. But if you give your best in the shadows, you create something that cannot be taken away from you, because it's not built for show, it's built for strength. Think of an iceberg. Only a small portion is visible above the surface, while the majority lies hidden below. The part you see might look impressive, but without the massive foundation underneath, it would collapse. Your achievements are the tip of the iceberg, the unseen work, the hours of preparation, the discipline when tired, the countless repetitions. That's the part no one sees, but it's what holds everything else up. Without that unseen mass, visible part cannot survive. The difficulty is that unseen work feels thankless in the moment. You won't always get immediate results. You won't always feel motivated. Sometimes it will seem as if nothing is changing. This is where most people quit. They mistake the lack of visible progress for lack of actual progress, but growth is often silent. Muscles build when no one is watching. Skills sharpen in the privacy of repetition. Character is forged in moments that never get documented or praised. The work is happening. You just have to trust it. The unseen work also has another hidden advantage. It trains you to love the process itself. When there's no crowd to cheer for you, you learn to find satisfaction in the act of doing the work, not just in the outcome. You start to take pride in the details, in getting a movement exactly right, in mastering something few will even notice. This kind of pride is powerful because it's self-sustaining. You don't need constant validation to keep going. The act becomes its own reward, but make no mistake, embracing the unseen work requires humility. It means accepting that much of what you do will go unnoticed. It means showing up with full effort even when no one will ever say thank you. And it means being okay with the fact that recognition may never come. The people who can accept this are the ones who build true mastery, because they're focused on what they can control, the work itself. Over time, the unseen becomes undeniable. While others are looking for shortcuts or waiting for the right moment, you will have been quietly stacking one brick after another, and eventually the structure you've built will rise high enough for everyone to see. But by then, the real reward won't be the attention. It will be the knowledge that you earned it in the hours when no one was watching. So embrace the unseen work, because that is where champions are made. The stage is just a place where the world gets to watch you reveal what you've already become. The real transformation doesn't happen in front of them. It happens long before, in the hidden hours, in the quiet corners, in the moments you refuse to let yourself settle for less. That is where the victory begins. If your emotions are tied to the approval of others, you will never truly be free. When praise comes, you'll feel worthy. When it disappears, you'll question yourself. When criticism arrives, you'll crumble. This constant swing between high and low, depending on what others think, will keep you trapped in a cycle of dependency. Emotional independence is the ability to stand steady, regardless of whether you are surrounded by cheers, silence, or even doubt from those around you. Emotional independence doesn't mean you ignore others or close yourself off from connection. It means that your mood, your confidence, and your sense of worth are not dictated by someone else's opinion. You can still listen to feedback. You can still appreciate recognition, but neither becomes your source of stability. When applause fades, you remain grounded. When criticism comes, you remain calm. You are anchored in something far deeper, your own self, understanding. This independence is essential if you want to win alone. Because when you are alone, there is no one to motivate you, to tell you that you're doing well, or to reassure you when you doubt yourself. If you've built your emotional strength entirely on external encouragement, you'll find yourself paralyzed without it. But if you've trained yourself to create your own encouragement, you will be able to keep going regardless of the atmosphere around you. Developing this strength starts with the conversations you have with yourself. Most people are their own harshest critics, but rarely their own strongest supporters. They speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to a friend, tearing down rather than building up. To be emotionally independent, you must become both coach and teammate for yourself. Encourage yourself when things are hard. Push yourself when you're tempted to stop. Remind yourself why you started, even when no one else remembers. Another key step is learning to celebrate private victories. If you can feel genuine satisfaction for a goal achieved, even when no one else knows about it, you've begun to detach from the need for external validation. Did you wake up early and train when you wanted to sleep in? Did you keep a promise to yourself when it would have been easy to quit? Celebrate that. Not with a post online, not with a story to others, just with the quiet acknowledgement that you stayed true to yourself. Emotional independence also means refusing to let criticism define you. This doesn't mean ignoring feedback. It means filtering it through your own understanding. Ask yourself, is this true? Does it help me grow? If it does, use it. If it doesn't, release it. This way, you are not blown around by every opinion you hear. You remain steady, able to take in what's useful without being destroyed by what's not. Over time, this independence changes the way you live. You stop chasing approval like a currency. You no longer work just to be noticed. You no longer fear being overlooked because you understand that your worth is not dependent on someone else's acknowledgement. You move forward with confidence, not because everyone agrees with you, but because you have learned to agree with yourself. And this is the heart of winning alone. To be able to walk into silence with your head held high, to continue moving forward even when no one else sees the point, and to draw strength from within rather than waiting for it to be given to you. That kind of independence makes you unshakable because your stability is not in the hands of the world, it's in yours. Self-reflection is the mirror that reveals the truth about your journey. Without it, you may walk for years without realizing you're heading in the wrong direction. You may repeat the same mistakes, convinced you're making progress, when in reality you're simply running in circles. Reflection is the pause that allows you to see not only how far you've come, but also where you still need to go. It is the practice that turns experience into wisdom. When you're alone, no one is there to point out your weaknesses. There is no opponent forcing you to adapt, no teacher constantly reminding you where to improve. You must take on that role yourself. This means looking honestly at your own performance, not through the lens of pride or self-pity, but with a clear and balanced perspective. Ask yourself, what did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What could I have done differently? These simple questions, asked consistently, will sharpen you more than any outside judgment. Self-reflection requires courage because it strips away excuses. It's easy to blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck for our failures. Reflection doesn't let you do that. It forces you to look inward and acknowledge the role you played in your results, both good and bad. This honesty can sting at first, but it is the foundation of growth. You can't fix what you won't face. The goal is not to judge yourself harshly, but to understand yourself deeply. If you reflect only to criticize, you'll drain your energy and kill your motivation. But if you reflect to learn, every setback becomes valuable. You stop seeing mistakes as proof that you're not good enough and start seeing them as teachers pointing out the exact areas where you can grow stronger. Reflection, when done with the right mindset, turns failure into a blueprint for improvement. Daily reflection is like a scoreboard only you can read. No one else may see your small wins. The moment you held your temper, the time you chose to keep a promise, the extra 10 minutes of focus when you wanted to quit. But you will. By noticing and acknowledging these moments, you reinforce the habits that will carry you forward. Likewise, when you spot patterns of weakness, you can address them before they become permanent. One powerful way to practice reflection is to end each day with 2 lists. First, write down what you did well. This builds gratitude and reinforces good behavior. Second, write down what you could have done better and one action you'll take to improve tomorrow. This keeps you moving forward without drowning in regret. Over time, these lists become a map of your growth, a record of how many times you've faced yourself and chosen to rise. The beauty of self-reflection is that it makes solitude productive. Alone time is not wasted if it's used to gain clarity. Many people fear being alone because it forces them to face thoughts they've been avoiding. But when you master reflection, you stop fearing those thoughts. Instead, you welcome them, because each one is a clue about how to move forward with more strength, discipline, and purpose. In the end, reflection turns solitude into a teacher, mistakes into lessons, and progress into something you can see with your own eyes. Without it, you may continue moving, but you'll never truly know if you're winning. With it, every step, whether forward or backward, becomes part of a clear, intentional path toward becoming the person you want to be. Loneliness and solitude may look the same from the outside. Both involve being alone, but they feel entirely different from the inside. Loneliness is a weight. It's the ache of absence, the longing for someone or something to fill the space beside you. Solitude, on the other hand, is light. It's the peace of presence, the presence of your own thoughts, your own focus, your own self-awareness. Loneliness drains you. Solitude nourishes you. The difference lies not in how many people are around, but in how comfortable you are with yourself. Many people confuse the two because they've never truly experienced solitude. They've been conditioned to fill every quiet moment with noise, conversations, entertainment, endless scrolling, anything to avoid sitting still with their own thoughts. So when the world falls silent, they feel an emptiness, mistaking it for loneliness. But solitude is not the absence of connection. It's the deepening of it, first with yourself and then with the world. Choosing solitude means choosing to be alone on purpose. It's stepping away from the crowd, not because you are rejected, but because you are intentional. It's creating space to think without interference, to feel without distraction, to act without performance. In solitude, you are not cut off. You are tuning in, shifting your attention from the noise outside to the truth inside. This is a choice that takes practice. If you've spent years fearing alone time, the first moments of solitude may feel uncomfortable. Your mind will race. You'll want to reach for your phone or turn on a distraction. But if you stay in that space just a little longer each time, you'll start to notice something shift. The discomfort fades, and in its place comes clarity. You hear your own voice more clearly. You see your own thoughts without them being drowned out by the opinions of others. Solitude also strengthens self-reliance. When you learn to be content in your own company, you stop depending on others to fill every emotional need. You no longer panic when plans fall through or when the room is empty. You can enjoy the presence of others without clinging to it, because you know how to stand steady on your own. This doesn't make you distant. It makes your connections healthier because they are chosen, not desperate. In solitude, you discover the parts of yourself that get lost in crowds. Away from the influence of others, You may notice desires, talents, or ideas that were buried under constant comparison. You may realize that some of your goals weren't even yours. They were borrowed from the expectations of people around you. Solitude gives you the space to ask, what do I really want? What truly matters to me? The beauty of solitude is that it transforms your relationship with the world. Once you can stand fully in your own company, you engage with others from a place of strength rather than need. You no longer fear losing people because you've learned that your wholeness doesn't depend on them. And when you do choose to share your time, it's because you genuinely want to, not because you're afraid of the silence that comes without them. So choose solitude, not loneliness. One drains you, the other fills you. One leaves you searching for something outside yourself, the other reminds you that you already have everything you need within. In solitude, you are not abandoned, you are empowered, you are not empty, you are complete. And from that completeness, you can step back into the world with more clarity, strength, and purpose than before. Solitude is not just a condition, it's a tool. Many people treat it like a pause in life, something to be endured until they can rejoin the noise of the world. But those who learn to use solitude discover that it can sharpen the mind, strengthen the spirit, and solidify discipline in ways that constant company never could. Solitude becomes a forge, and you are the iron placed in its fire. When you're alone, you have the freedom to move without interference. No one is there to interrupt your focus, to pull you toward their priorities, or to sway your decisions. In this space, you can give full attention to your craft, your body, or your mind. You can pursue mastery without the need to explain or justify your process. This uninterrupted focus is rare in a distracted world, and it's one of the most powerful gifts solitude offers. Turning solitude into strength begins with shifting your perspective. Instead of seeing it as a lack, see it as an opening, a chance to rebuild yourself without outside influence, a chance to practice skills, to test your limits, to refine your thoughts until they are sharp and clear. Solitude is not empty, it is full of possibilities for those willing to engage with it intentionally, but solitude will only make you stronger if you bring effort into it. Simply being alone does not create growth. You must fill that space with purposeful action, reading, training, creating, meditating, learning. If you treat solitude like an idle waiting room, it will do nothing for you. But if you treat it like a private gym for your mind and character, every moment in it will add to your strength. The strength you build in solitude is different from the strength you build in public. Public victories often rely on energy of others, the competition, the audience, the adrenaline of the moment, but the strength gained in solitude is self-generated. It teaches you to move without applause, to persist without reminders, to find drive without someone else lighting the fire. And once you can do that, there is no environment where you cannot succeed. Solitude also hardens resilience. In life, there will be times when people leave, when support fades, when you must walk through a season without anyone by your side. If you've never trained in solitude, these moments can break you. But if you've learned to turn solitude into strength, these moments will not shake you. They will feel familiar. You will know how to keep going because you've done it before. The greatest proof of strength gained in solitude is not just surviving alone. It's thriving alone. It's emerging from the quiet, not weaker or bitter, but sharper, calmer, more confident. It's stepping back into the world with a presence that others can feel, not because you are loud, but because you are rooted. You've been tested in the silent arena, and you carry that victory in the way you stand, speak, and act. So solitude, used well, is not an escape from life. It's the preparation for it. It is the place where you build the kind of strength that cannot be taken from you, a strength that does not crumble when the crowd leaves, a strength that remains even in the deepest quiet, and once you have it, you are never truly alone again, because you carry your own foundation with you wherever you go. In the end, Winning alone is not about proving the world wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's not about living in isolation forever, but about discovering that you don't need the constant approval of others to keep moving forward. It's about becoming the kind of person who can walk into any storm without fear, because you've already faced the silence within. When you learn to win alone, you stop depending on circumstances to define you. You carry your own momentum, your own clarity, your own strength, and when people finally see the results of your journey, they may wonder how you did it. The truth is, you didn't wait for someone to walk with you. You built the road yourself. So, if you find yourself standing alone right now, don't see it as the end. See it as the beginning, because solitude is not void, it's a weapon, and if you wield it well, it will make you unstoppable.